Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Today taking a look at the Vintage Collection Rebel Pilot Mon Calamari. This is from the Return of the Jedi deleted scenes. So let's head to that table and check this one out. And here's a look at him on that Star Wars Return of the Jedi branded Vintage Collection card. You see the Rebel Pilot Mon Calamari name right there in the center. And this does appear to be an artistic rendering, since obviously we did not see this actual scene in the movie. And this came with promotional that you could win large life-size Darth Maul statue signed by George Lucas. That's a sticker on there, and unfortunately it covers a good portion of the character's face. And then of course through the blister you see the included figure with that removable helmet, and he's got the little blaster strapped to his hand. On the bottom of that bubble though, you do have a deleted scene Blu-ray figure stamp signifying that, well, of course, this is from a deleted scene, and it promotes the Blu-ray release. Flipping on to the backside, the artwork here is just a touch different from the earlier figures in the wave. Now you got the Star Wars logo up top with that old school Luke and Leia artwork on the left of that. And for the number in the lineup, it's at 91. You got VC91 there at the top right corner. The right up here still talks about celebrating Star Wars as a whole and talking about the vintage line. And for the photo scene here, it's the other figures in the wave of this deleted scene case, and then a whole lineup of other figures that were also available at the time. And below those images, you also got 3 other vehicles that were also available. Moving on to the figure, this guy was seen in an A-Wing, so he's got that A-Wing jumpsuit on. Pretty good looking figure overall. Although I will say, I do think its arms are just a little too long. Like, I don't feel like his fingers should be around its kneecaps. Going into the head sculpt area first, we'll look at the helmet. Everything seems very representative of what was seen in the deleted scene. Not as much like scuff marks or anything. It's a pretty clean paint job. I'm quite alright with that. But that gray painted along the front edge of the helmet, couple black dots painted in there. So that part is looking pretty good. And of course the helmet is removable, so it just slides off the head pretty easily. And then of course that reveals the entire head of the Mon Calamari. And surprisingly what we have here is an all new head sculpt. Like, they didn't go back and reuse Akbar parts or A-Wing pilot parts for the main body and stuff. So everything's new here, or new at the time. And certainly a different head sculpt to that, with an expression of the mouth opened up. Whereas I think everything for Akbar, until we got to Force Awakens where it was an articulated jaw, his mouth was generally sculpted closed. Nice sculpting with the little, I don't know, they're not tentacles, but whatever the little floppy things are dangling from the mouth area and stuff. And a pretty nice paint job of his little dark patterns or whatever that are painted around the head area. And then looking at the eyes, pretty decent paint job to them. Kind of looks like he's looking down though, but I really don't care about that. As for that chest area, it's pretty much your standard A-Wing outfit, I believe. Green jumpsuit, nice sculpting for little fabric folds and stuff. You got pockets sculpted on each side of the shoulder for the arm area. The chest box area, though, they sculpt these different each time. This is a lot flatter than some of the other A-Wing pilots. But again, I don't think we saw any of this in the deleted scene footage. Everything was basically neck area up. So for all I know, this could be accurate. No special painting applications for buttons and stuff here. You do get that white hose running from the bottom of the chest box. It's got a little touch of silver painting there. And that hose does run down to the side of the hip area. As it rotates around to the back side, you got a little bit more detailing in there just for some texturing for the back of that vest thing. As for the hand and wrist area, it's what you expect for a Mon Calamari to look like. So things are looking pretty good there. And certainly matches the skin tones that they painted on the head area. As for the belt area, it's all white to match the rest of those little jumpsuit straps and stuff and that hose. You got a little bits of silver things painted on the right side of the belt area, and a black pouch sculpted in, painted in there on the left side. Going down through the legs, that green jumpsuit continues, pocket sculpted on the thigh area, and then those white loose flight straps or whatever still continue down. Those are loosely sculpted, they're not attached on, but they are attached to the belt, which is attached to the figure, so you're not going to remove those. And then down around at the feet area, you got these like dark brown, I don't know if it's cloths or if it's part of the jumpsuit or something. Pretty nice painting to those with a little bit of dirt wash to it maybe. I mean, it's quite possible that it's just the green kind of poking through that brown paint too. So it's really hard to tell. But either way, I mean, I think it works. It still looks pretty good. And actually, as we're going through these lower legs here, I will say I did notice, I happen to have this Y-Wing figure sitting off to the side from the Battle Over Endor multi-pack set. And I just happened to notice that these legs are in fact the same legs that figure has. It even ends up giving the figure that same goofy stance. But anyways, the legs themselves look to be identical to me. Obviously just molded in green instead of gray plastic, and just a different paint job for those straps around the bottoms of the legs. No big deal to me. Actually, it's, they're pilots. It's fine that they reuse parts. Just thought I'd call it out, since I think at the beginning of the review I said this was an entirely new figure. And that gray Y-Wing figure was released a year prior to this one. And as far as the articulation of the figure, the head is on a ball joint, so you're going to get your swiveling all the way around. And it even has a pretty decent range of motion up and down, and then also being able to tilt that head just a little bit side to side. As for the arms, of course, you're able to swing those all the way around, and you can do that, of course, with both of them. And then they're hinged, so you're going to be able to bring those pretty much straight out, it looks like. And at the elbow area, you're able to bring the arms straight out and then give it a pretty decent bend upwards, pretty much 90 degrees there. And then, of course, you got your swiveling at that point. And then, well, for I guess what would be considered the wrist, not actually at this point, but right up here at the forearm, you're getting your swiveling in there. And then that's all the articulation you got for the hand area. And for the waist articulation, it's actually just here underneath his chest box. He can swivel pretty much side to side. Obviously, he can't go in a full circle because you'll run into ripping that hose out. And then for the leg area, of course, they both do come straight out. And even if you wanted to, you could bend them, well, all the way back also. As for the knee joints, they are single jointed, but you still get a good bend in there. And then also the swiveling side to side, actually all the way around as well. Again, because these straps are loose, it's not hindering any motion through there. And then for the feet, of course, you get your swiveling all the way around at the top of the foot. And then also, you get your back motion, which goes pretty far there. And then a little bit forward also. And he does come with a single accessory, or I guess two if you want to count the helmet as an accessory, but we already talked about that. But what we have here is just a little blaster. I can't say for certain, like, if we've received this on another figure or not, so I'm not even going to try to say whether this is a newly sculpted weapon or not. But it does have a pretty nice sculpt to it. Certainly looks pretty good. As you can see, it is mostly black, but you do have some silver painted in at the barrel of the blaster. And that weapon can fit nicely in either hand. He's even got a little bit of a trigger finger extended out, so that it sits pretty nicely in there. No holster, though, to place this into if you did not want it in his hand. So overall, top to bottom, this really is a pretty good-looking figure. Any additional Rebel pilots, background characters, whatever, are always good. And certainly, you know, I know they were celebrating the release of the Blu-ray with some new deleted scenes that people hadn't seen before. I think this was a fantastic way to celebrate that. And it was quite surprising that we got a whole wave of deleted scene figures to support that release. And so that wraps up this look at the deleted scenes Rebel Pilot Mon Calamari figure from Return of the Jedi. If you're wondering why all of a sudden I've had some vintage collection figures to show, it's because I've been doing some digging back in my storage area. So now I've got some, you know, vintage collection. I just grabbed a whole bunch of other lines that I don't just have in my toy room itself. So a lot more variety of stuff coming. But anyways, I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this figure in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.